Box approach to recruit more teachers.
Hannah Battelle reporting live in Arlington this morning. A few cars already lined up here at a parking lot just outside Globe Life Field to try out a new testing center temporarily run by FEMA. We'll tell you what you need to know if you too would like to take advantage of this one.
From KDFW Fox 4, all local, all morning. This is Good Day at 9 a.m.
Well, good morning. It is Wednesday, January 19th. I'm Brandon Todd, in for Tim this morning.
I'm Lauren Prispel. Thanks for being with us. Evan's got a lot to talk about. Let's go straight to him because we're about to cool down.
Clock be ticking right here. This is the clock tomorrow morning. Now, we're not worried about wintry precip, no ice, no snow, no sleet. Just a lot of cold, Chip Wagner.
Yeah, right now, not a lot of incidents out and about on the roadways. Lauren, Brandon, back to you.
All right, thank you. Well, the FBI is looking for the person who drove a man to a homeless shelter just days before he held 4 people hostage at a local synagogue.
Yeah, and Dan Godwin is live this morning in Colleyville with the latest on that investigation. Dan.
Brandon, people are wondering how the now deceased hostage taker, Malik Akram, was able to get on a plane in late December and fly legally to the United States. Why wasn't he on any no-fly lists? Turns out there apparently wasn't enough found in his background to set off those kinds of alarms. The FBI, meanwhile, is searching for the person who dropped Akram off at a Dallas homeless shelter. Akram was spotted staying at 2 shelters in the city and an Irving motel before walking into Congregation Beth Israel here in Colleyville on Saturday. Tuesday, the Our Calling shelter released a photo of Akram taken on January 2nd. The FBI says it believes Akram acted alone, but it still wants to find and talk to that other man. Now, in 2020, Akram was probed by the UK's security service as a potential Islamic terrorist, but he was determined not to be a credible threat to national security. That's according to Sky News. One expert we spoke to talked about the challenge of identifying those who actually pose a threat among the thousands who were looked at.
I mean, just look at things that happen in our country. There's a lot of people who participate in certain kind of rallies, protests, whatever. Does that mean that they intend any harm or are violent? Not necessarily. It is very likely that this fellow didn't rise to the level of getting overly excited that he may be some kind of national security threat.
Meanwhile, 2 teens allegedly related to Akram have been released by authorities in the UK. They were detained for their alleged connection to the hostage situation here at Congregation Beth Israel, but neither will be charged. Reporting live in Colleyville, Dan Godwin on Good Day.
North Texas hospitals are on pace to treat their highest number of patients with COVID-19 since the pandemic began. More than 4,000 COVID-positive people are in hospitals in our area, and that's the highest number since last January's surge. UT Southwestern Medical Center projects the rate of new COVID cases will peak before January ends. If that happens, hospitalizations would likely not peak for at least a few more weeks. A new COVID testing site is now open in Arlington outside the former home of the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, it's run by FEMA, and Fox 4's Hannah Battelle is there live with the plan to try to keep wait times short. I think that's what a lot of people are focusing on right now after, some are waiting hours for tests. Hannah?
Hey, good morning. As of just a few minutes ago, this site is officially open. It's the parking lot just northwest of what's now the new Choctaw Stadium. And compared to some of the other testing lines we've seen, this is not bad. Now that it's officially open, there are only 3 cars in line as this process just gets underway for the new drive-through temporary testing site. Just going to be here for a few weeks, but as you can see, a massive, massive space and several organizations working together to really respond to this latest surge in COVID cases and the new Omicron variant. So FEMA volunteers, Texas National Guard members were out here yesterday setting up all those cones. You just saw all of the tape to guide the vehicles along as they go through this testing site. It is going to begin, like I said, started at 9 a.m. This is in the Sienna Lot M right near Choctaw Stadium.
A lot of testing capacity in the area. Let's utilize it. If anybody feels that they have any symptoms, do not ignore it. Yes, it's allergy season, it's cold season, flu season, but please do get your COVID test done. I do recommend that people who are either exposed and are feeling symptoms, they should come first.
So this site will be open until 7 p.m. every day for the next 3 weeks. FEMA urges people to register online in advance to keep those wait times shorter. We have a link to do so on our website at fox4news.com. And here is something interesting. Of course, with this new variant, everyone is really getting exposed, whether it's to a coworker, to a friend, to a family member. What the Tarrant County Health Director recommends now in light of this surge is if you do think you might have been exposed, but you have no symptoms, he says don't do a knee-jerk reaction and then come and get tested right away. He says instead, if you're still feeling well, monitor yourself for a few days, 5 days, and then if you do have symptoms, that's when you should come and get tested to help prevent from those long testing lines that we've seen at other locations. Again, up on our website, fox4news.com, is a link to get yourself registered, which they recommend you do so in advance. For now, reporting live in Arlington, I'm Hannah Battah for Good Day.
All right, Hannah, thanks. And when you look at that testing, the numbers are giving us a small glimmer of hope that the worst of Omicron may be fading. The statewide positivity rate fell below 34% for the first time in 2 weeks. The demand for COVID testing, though, remains very high. There were nearly 163,000 tests reported Monday. The 7-day rolling average is nearly 195,000 per day.
Oh, 2 more school districts in our area temporary closing because of COVID-related staff shortages. All schools in Weatherford ISD in Parker County and then Lake Worth ISD northwest of Fort Worth closed for the rest of the week. They say classes just being disrupted because there's just too many people out sick. Both districts plan to reopen Monday.
Some local districts that closed late last week will reopen today. Mansfield, Northwest, and White Settlement ISDs, all in Tarrant County, had COVID-related staff shortages. A handful of districts, including Mesquite ISD, are still closed today because of those shortages. Well, one North Texas district is looking abroad to recruit new teachers. Fort Worth ISD is holding a virtual job fair in Mexico City. The goal is to find more bilingual teachers for the next school year. Teachers who are certified in Mexico may qualify for certification in Texas. Fort Worth ISD offers bonuses for teachers who speak English and Spanish. It's about 9 minutes after 9 o'clock. Texas, now one of only 4 states to regain all of the jobs lost to the pandemic.
The president faces off with the press today, the first time in a while he's done that. I'm Doug Luzader in Washington. We'll have more on what we expect to come up just ahead.
Welcome back. Well, President Biden will mark the start of his 2nd year in office with the White House news conference today.
The administration already touting his accomplishments, also defending his failures, including one that may play out today on Capitol Hill. Doug Luzader has more.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
That was Doug Luzader reporting. Well, nearly 2 years after COVID-19 first appeared, Texas has recovered all of the jobs lost to the pandemic. This is data from the Texas Workforce Commission, and it shows the state surpassed levels of employment before the pandemic. Tech companies like Oracle and Tesla have relocated to Texas in the last couple of years. That contributed to jobs boom. Arizona, Utah, and Idaho, the only other states that have fully recovered job numbers from early 2020.
Well, the managers of the state's power grid say Texas is ready for extreme winter weather. ERCOT says all but 3 of the state's 324 power generators passed inspection for mandatory upgrades. The changes were ordered in the wake of last year's catastrophic winter storm. ERCOT and Governor Abbott have promised the Texas grid can handle whatever comes its way. Experts point out there are other factors, though, that contributed to last year's widespread power failure.
Well, I think it will make a difference, but we also need to keep in mind it wasn't just the power generators. There were problems with gas production. There were problems with the compressors that move the gas around Texas.
ERCOT says it's already notified all energy operators to be ready for temperatures below freezing later this week.
Temps back to normal by Sunday, and by Monday we could have a chance for rain, especially later in the day and at night.
All right. So Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, he apologized for his comments after Sunday's playoff loss.
And a lot of people were wondering if he was going to. Well, this is what he said after being asked about fans throwing garbage on the field after the game.
To know everything that we put into this day in and day out, try our hardest. Nobody comes in the game wanting or expecting to lose, and for people to react that way when you're supposed to be a supporter and be with us through thick and thin, that's tough.
I think they were aiming at the referees.
Yeah. They were at the referees.
Credit to them then.
That's what
Yeah.
They weren't doing it.
Oh, credit to them.
Yeah, it was that last part that got him in trouble. Prescott was clearly frustrated after a game in which the Cowboys were penalized 14 times. So he tweeted last night he was caught up in the emotion of the disappointing loss and that his remarks were uncalled for and unfair. The NFL Referees Association has not responded, but the National Basketball Referees Association has. It accused Prescott of condoning violence against game officials and called on the NFL to take action against him.
All right, 9:20 coming up here on Good Day. Overdraft fees may soon be a thing of the past, but what's that going to mean for your wallet? Consumer reporter Steve Noviello here. He's going to break it all down on Good Day.
Welcome back to Good Day this Wednesday morning. You've no doubt seen the stories recently about big banks doing away with fees.
Okay, so what does this new trend really mean for those of us who are banking and for our wallet? Consumer reporter Steve Noviello here to sort it all out. It sounds too good to be true, Steve.
Well, I will say, in many events, it actually really is very good and very true. And let me be clear, this move toward more consumer-friendly banking is really the step in the right direction for these big institutions. The idea that we are going to penalize people who don't have enough money to cover their accounts with fees that they can't also afford is kind of ridiculous, right? So one by one, banks are reducing or even eliminating fees for overdrawing your account or writing a bad check altogether. But there is a little more to the story.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, that sounds good. There's always fine print, though. Is there fine print here?
There is, and it really is going to vary bank by bank. There are a couple of things that seem to be gone across the board. First up, NSF, or non-sufficient fund fees, have been eliminated by most banks. That does not mean that the person on the other side of the transaction, the retailer, the bill collector, whoever it is that you didn't have enough money to pay, won't continue to impose their own non-sufficient fund fees. Overdraft fees will see at the very least a reduction. For example, at Bank of America, they were charging you $35 for overdrawing your account. They'll now charge you only $10. They also, by the way, though, have cut the number of times that you can overdraw from 4 to 2. Over at Chase, they have added a cushion. It was $5. It's now $50. In essence, you can overdraw your account $50 with no penalty, but overdraw more than that, and you have until the end of the day to pay yourself back to get that account back up to that negative $50 balance, or you will face a fee. That timeline, by the way, will be expanded to 24 hours once they do a full rollout later on this year.
Ugh, why do I feel like the banks are still going to profit from this?
So, look, the question, of course, is surely you're going to have to make up this money somewhere, right? First up this, most of these accounts are not free to begin with. There's a monthly or an annual fee. However, every single financial institution we spoke with said, please remind your viewers there are easy ways to get those fees waived, like setting up direct deposit or having a monthly minimum balance in there. As far as making up the money elsewhere, we asked the same question to the folks at Bank of America. They told us, look, this new, more transparent move toward financial wellness for customers will cause their overdraft fee revenue to drop by 97%. That is hundreds of millions of dollars in loss each year. Now, to me, that's a lot of money, but we've learned a couple of things. To them, it's 1% of their revenue. So really, in the grand scheme of things, not a huge amount of money. The trend is going to be relationship building. So while they may not fee you to death on the front end, the idea is we're going to treat you well, and then hopefully you'll come back to us when it's time to do things like take out a mortgage or maybe a HELOC or finance your kid's college education. And while we won't make money in fees, we will certainly make money selling you additional products and keeping you loyal.
So
good marketing.
Keep my cash in the door. I know.
Good to see you guys.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, it is 9:26. Coming up on Good Day, some international airlines are canceling flights in the U.S. because of the turbulent 5G upgrade. We'll have a live report from DFW Airport coming up.
You can now order free at-home COVID tests from the government. You may have to wait a while for them to arrive, though. Details ahead.